Dennis Lehane's Shutter Island stands as a masterpiece of psychological horror that transcends the boundaries of conventional mystery fiction. At its core, the novel is an intricate exploration of trauma, guilt, and the fragile nature of human consciousness. The book operates on multiple levels simultaneously, as a detective story, a psychological thriller, and a profound meditation on the nature of reality itself. Lehane constructs a narrative that questions everything we think we know about perception, memory, and truth, creating a reading experience that fundamentally challenges our understanding of reliable narration. The novel's central concern is the malleability of the human mind and how trauma can reconstruct reality in ways that seem absolutely convincing to the sufferer. Through the character of Teddy Daniels, or Andrew Laeddis as we eventually discover, Lehane examines how the psyche protects itself from unbearable truths by creating elaborate alternative realities. This isn't simply a story about mental illness, it's a sophisticated exploration of how consciousness itself can become both prison and sanctuary, how the mind can simultaneously be our greatest ally and most dangerous enemy. The brilliance of Lehane's approach lies in his ability to make the reader complicit in the protagonist's delusion. We experience the story through Teddy's perspective, sharing his paranoia, his certainties, and his growing desperation. The novel becomes a study in how convincingly the human mind can reconstruct reality when faced with unbearable trauma, and how that reconstruction can feel more real than reality itself. The themes of guilt, responsibility, and the weight of the past permeate every aspect of the narrative, creating a work that resonates long after the final page. The story. Unraveling the mystery. The narrative begins with what appears to be a straightforward premise. U.S. Marshal Teddy Daniels and his partner, Chuck Owl, arrive at Ashcliffe Hospital for the criminally insane on Shutter Island to investigate the disappearance of patient Rachel Solando. From the moment they step off the ferry, however, the story begins to reveal layers of complexity that gradually transform our understanding of everything we've been told. Teddy carries his own baggage to the island. He believes his wife Dolores died in a fire set by Andrew Laeddis, a patient at Ashcliffe, and he suspects the hospital of conducting illegal experiments on patients as part of Cold War-era mind control research. His investigation becomes increasingly personal as he searches for both Rachel Solando and Andrew Laeddis, driven by a combination of professional duty and personal vengeance. The island itself becomes a character in the story, with its Gothic architecture, violent storms, and atmosphere of barely contained chaos, reflecting the psychological turbulence of its protagonist. As Teddy delves deeper into the mystery, he uncovers what he believes to be evidence of a vast conspiracy. He discovers hidden wards, secret experiments, and what appears to be a systematic cover-up of the hospital's true purpose. His paranoia intensifies as staff members seem to be watching him, his questions are deflected or ignored, and even his partner Chuck begins to act strangely. The investigation leads him to a lighthouse where he believes the most horrific experiments are conducted and where he hopes to find both answers and revenge. The story's devastating revelation comes in the final act. Teddy Daniels is actually Andrew Laeddis, a patient at Ashcliffe who killed his wife after she drowned their 3 children during a psychotic break. Unable to face this reality, his mind has constructed an elaborate fantasy in which he's a federal marshal investigating his own case. Chuck is actually his psychiatrist, Dr. Sheehan, and the entire investigation has been a carefully orchestrated therapeutic exercise designed to help Andrew face the truth about his past. Rachel Solando doesn't exist. She's another manifestation of his wife Dolores, and the conspiracy he's uncovered is nothing more than the product of his traumatized psyche. Reader's mind. Analysis. The psychological masterpiece. From a reader's perspective, Shutter Island represents one of the most skillfully executed, unreliable narrator narratives in modern literature. Lehane's achievement lies not just in the shocking revelation of the truth, but in how that revelation recontextualizes every single detail of the story we've just read. This is a book that demands to be read twice, once to experience the mystery alongside Teddy, and again to appreciate the intricate craft with which Lehane has planted clues and constructed a narrative that works perfectly on both levels. The genius of the novel is how Lehane makes the reader an active participant in Andrew's delusion. We want to believe in the conspiracy because it's more palatable than the alternative. The idea that there's an external enemy to fight feels more manageable than confronting the reality of a man who failed to save his family and then constructed an elaborate fantasy to avoid facing that failure. Lehane understands that readers, like his protagonist, will often choose a comfortable lie over an uncomfortable truth, and he uses this psychological tendency to devastating effect. What makes this book truly exceptional is how it balances its psychological complexity with genuine emotional resonance. The revelation doesn't feel like a cheap trick or a gimmicky twist. It feels inevitable and heartbreaking. When we understand that Andrew has been living in this fantasy for 2 years, participating in this same therapeutic exercise repeatedly, we're confronted with a profound tragedy. This is a man so broken by guilt and grief that he's chosen madness over reality, and the book forces us to question whether that choice might, in some circumstances, be understandable or even rational. The novel also works brilliantly as a meditation on the nature of heroism and masculinity. Teddy Daniels is constructed as a classic masculine hero, a tough federal marshal seeking justice and revenge. But Andrew Laeddis is something far more complex and tragic, a man who failed in the most fundamental way, who couldn't protect his family, and who has been consumed by that failure. The contrast between these two identities speaks to broader questions about how we construct our sense of self and what happens when that construction proves inadequate to reality. Lehane's prose throughout is perfectly calibrated to support the psychological complexity of his narrative. His writing is atmospheric and evocative, creating a sense of mounting dread that mirrors Andrew's psychological state. The island setting becomes a perfect metaphor for isolation and containment, while the storm that rages throughout much of the book reflects the internal turbulence of the protagonist's mind. Every detail serves the larger purpose of creating a world that feels both entirely real and subtly unmoored from reality. The supporting characters are crafted with equal care, serving dual functions as both elements of Teddy's investigation and components of Andrew's therapy. Dr. Corley emerges as a complex figure, both the seemingly sinister head of a suspicious institution and a dedicated psychiatrist trying to help a deeply troubled patient. The other patients and staff members all serve similar dual purposes, creating a narrative that maintains its internal logic while hiding its true nature in plain sight. Perhaps most impressively, the book succeeds in making its climactic revelation feel both completely surprising and entirely inevitable. The clues are all there for careful readers to discover, but they're embedded so skillfully within the narrative that most readers will be completely blindsided by the truth. Yet once revealed, that truth makes perfect sense of everything that came before, transforming the story from a supernatural thriller into a deeply human tragedy about trauma, guilt, and the lengths to which the human mind will go to protect itself from unbearable truths. Shutter Island ultimately stands as a testament to the power of psychological fiction to illuminate fundamental truths about human nature. It's a book that respects its reader's intelligence while delivering genuine emotional impact, a work that functions simultaneously as an entertaining thriller and a profound exploration of consciousness, trauma, and the stories we tell ourselves to survive. Lehane has created not just a memorable mystery, but a lasting meditation on the nature of reality itself and the sometimes unbearable weight of truth.